And welcome back, everybody. It's been a little while since we did a video, but things have been a little more important within the realm of life, so to speak. But anyway, hopefully we will not have that big of a gap between videos again. Here we are in the Aerostar, as promised in the previous full-length video, and we are flying from Quito, Ecuador. Obviously, we're where we are right now, and we're heading down to the coast of Ecuador, down to Salinas, which is just south. I should say west-southwest of Guayaquil. We were going to be going to Guayaquil, and then I figured, wait a minute, there's not any cool scenery in Guayaquil. However, Salinas Airport is right on the Pacific, so that is where we're going to go, and we got to do our run-up here, and the run-up is going to be a little different because of our elevation. If you see the altimeter down there, which just changed, it is not 7,940, it's 7,900. Yeah, adjust that just a wee bit. Up one. There we go. Alright. The run-up that we're going to do is not the average run-up. The run-up that we're going to do is a static run-up. However, the power is going to go all the way up. Let me rephrase. The throttles are going to go all the way up to 2400 RPM. Instead of the usual 2100, where we cycle the props and check the mags, the magnetos, that's already tested. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be setting our mixture for takeoff, which sounds a bit bizarre, but here's why. Since we're at an elevation of 7,900 feet, we don't take off, and we don't even start the engines with mixture at full rich. So what we're going to do is simply run the engines all the way up to 2400 RPM. We're going to be watching the prop RPM, of course, because these are constant speed props. And we're going to hold those brakes. There we go. And we're going to just find the proverbial sweet spot on the with regard to the mixture. Alright, and we'll do that right now, since we're not on VATSIM, because no controllers are online in South America, so it's we don't have to worry about crashing into, I should let me rephrase, we don't have to worry about other people online crashing into us by ignoring procedures that everybody should follow. So here we go, 2400 RPM, both engines. And beginning to pull the mixture back. A little more. Pretty stable, right about 50%. So now we're going to bring those throttles back. We don't want to idle, because we know what happens in the Aerostar when you idle. The chances of those engines quitting on you is very substantial. Alright, let's go over the departure brief real quick. We're going to be utilizing runway 36. And, a little bit of rain. 36. And in case we lose an engine, we're going to get to that in just a moment. Our rotate, our V1. V1 is going to be 90 knots. Rotate VR is going to be at 97. I can't really see, but it'll be around 97 knots. And then we're simply going to aim for the blue mark on the airspeed indicator. If anything happens prior to V1, I'll bring the aircraft to a complete stop. And we will deal with whatever that issue is. If we have an engine failure after takeoff, this is very, very key. This runway is 13,445 feet long. So let's say 13,400 feet. We can technically, I looked it up in the proverbial books. I looked it up. What we can do a aborted departure out of the airport. As long as the landing gear is still down and we have enough runway underneath us, we'll set the airplane back down and then come to a complete stop. We can do that because of the two things. One, the length of runway. Two, the terrain in the area. Losing an engine and flying on one engine in this terrain at this altitude would be extremely dangerous. You would end up well, obviously you feather the dead engine. However, the keeping the airplane right at 0 VSI, meaning no plus or minus on the climb rate, and just circling back around to land on 36 would be very, very challenging. I would do it, of course, but that is the reason why they allow us to do if something happens right at V1 and you get off the ground, you rotate and then something happens. If you've got roughly 4,000 feet or so of runway left, and obviously you can tell that by looking at the runway markings below you, then you simply bring the aircraft back down to the ground and then bring it to a safe stop and then vacate the runway. So, departure, if everything works out well, we're just going to be utilizing the VFR, what's known in Quito, Ecuador, is known as the visual, thinking of the name in Spanish, well, in English, the visual valley departure is what a lot of people are known for calling it. Having been there in real life myself, that is what people call it, the visual valley departure. And we're going to be departing to the northwest, definitely northwest, because if we go in any other direction, we would be running into a mountain. There's a very, very slim window of opportunity of getting an aircraft like this out of Quito and then on the way. So the scenery going down, getting out of the Andes Mountains, the scenery, I can assure you, is going to be pretty breathtaking. And I just upgraded the frame rates and everything else on the sim. And so we're going to see just how good everything works with Sim Update 5. And this, by the way, the Aerostar from A2A simulations, this is their newest version. This is version 1.6. I was going to do a video yesterday, but they surprised me when things didn't work right. Well, things in the cockpit were not working. Engines were not starting up, and electrical systems weren't working, and I thought it was because of the Sim Update 5. Nope, it was because of it was because of that, but A2A simulations, I said, I wonder if they updated the airplane because of Sim Update 5, so I hopped on their website, and their website showed a new version. So they did not. I'm not the kind of person who checks on every forum of every developer. Um, in order to see if I needed to update the aircraft. A2A, in my opinion, I think they should at least send everybody an email or something like that, saying, hey, we updated a product of ours that you purchased, but that's just me. Alright, let's just settle down here and set takeoff thrust. Sorry, you said flying jets. Takeoff power, and then we'll be on our way. Alright, here we go. There we go. Rolling. V1 and rotate. Boy, this thing wants to climb without wind coming right down the runway. Everything wants to climb. And it's going to be a bumpy climb out. A little slow, positive rate, gear up. And by the way, happy Mother's Day to everybody out there who is a mother. Very, very happy Mother's Day. If this is a reminder for you guys out there who forgot, you're welcome. Alright, here we go. Let's begin the actual departure out of here. Flaps up. Bring those flaps back just a little bit. Alright, as soon as we get on our way, then I'll get our heads out of the cockpit. As you can see, it's quite the scenery. Check it out real quick on the outside. Very bumpy. Very bumpy. Whoa. Kinda anticipated that, but that's the way it goes. If you have never been to Ecuador in real life, I strongly recommend it. All of a sudden we begin to climb like the proverbial bat out of hell. I mean, for our two engines that are not turbocharged, I'm very impressed, especially at this altitude. Alright. Quite a bit of rain in the area. Let's see if we can bring up the radar here. Oh, it's going to get worse. Isn't that nice? Alright. We can't go too high because we're not pressurized. Nor do we have oxygen on board. Although there are some 600 Aerostar 600s that have been modified with oxygen. Yeah, boy, this is bumpy ride. Let's pull up the train again. This rain was not in the forecast. Now this is to the right and straight ahead. And we are flying the valley departure as posted in a way. It's not, well, it's not posted, but there is downtown Quito. And somebody did request for the majority of the flight to be in the cockpit, which is fine by me. It makes my job easier. But some of these views are simply too good to be, too good not to be from the outside. Alright. Almost 12,000 feet, which is fine. I mean, technically, no, but there are a couple of mountains that we've got to get around. And as you know, the onboard Garmin GNS 530 and 430, they do not give you any type of terrain awareness of any kind whatsoever. So, yeah, we're getting a little bit of an updraft, downdraft kind of situation. This kind of weather with terrain like this, very, very I can actually, believe it or not, I can see just enough to get around. Now, would you do this in real life? Of course not. Alright, there's a break, and the clouds are right over there. This time of year, you're just asking for spotty range hours. Let's see, did the cabin cool off? 54. Oh yeah, sure did. It was 84 degrees in here back at the airport, so just closed up those as they say in England, punkaluvers. Shut that valve as well. Make sure the air vents, as we say in the West, make sure the air vents are closed. Alright. There we go. Looking good. Yeah, I know we are south, of course. South of the course. I want to say south, of course, south of the course. But at least we can really see the terrain that we need to avoid farther ahead than versus just a few miles. Yeah, I'm looking good though. Flying this aircraft by hand, I highly recommend it. It's just, it's very, very solid. If you set the trim like I've done, you can see you can keep your vertical speed right at 0 effortlessly, and you have minor variations, but nothing big deal. Alright, you see that mountain to the right? It's our 1 o'clock. That mountain, we need to go, we need to fly just south of it here. Because if we continue to go this direction, we'll simply get way too far off course. But let's look at the weather real quick. Is it going to get worse if we go that direction? Or is it going to clear up? Let's see. Well, for now, yeah, that will simply get worse and worse. Alright, I know what we're going to do. The valley that we're flying over, there's a mountain to our 12 o'clock. Okay, more like 12:30. We're going to be heading toward that, and then just shy of it, we're going to go to the west, and that'll get us out of the Andes safely. Pushing 13,000 feet. Little high for these engines, but I'm really impressed with the engine performance, because I have the engines lean now all the way back to, I'm going to use a percentage to tell you how far back the mixtures are leaned. They are leaned to 45%. Just a very, very beautiful area to depart. I remember right, the GNS 430, which is down here, has weather radar built into it. Yeah. Kinda old school, but that's what we like. Glass cockpits are fun, but hey, flying an old school airplane like this, the fastest production twin piston in the world, doesn't get much better than this, especially when you're mountain flying like this. Doesn't get any better. Approaching 13,000. I know, it's a little high, but I think we can handle it. As long as the engines can handle it, we can handle it. Just look at the weather again. Something tells me it's a little different than it was. Yes. Okay. Again, the engines are looking great. I know technically we shouldn't be above 12,500 because of oxygen, but it's a simulator. We do try to do everything as realistic as possible, but hey, it's a simulator. What are you gonna do? Is everybody out there doing well, by the way? Good. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Alright. Now, you know what? Let's take this Archer out this way. A little bit of trim to keep our nose above 0 here. And we do need to climb just a tiny bit. I saw that they released an update to the scenery of Australia. Kind of a bummer in that the last time I flew the Aerostar, it was in Australia, around Ayers Rock and all that. You can check out the previous videos for those flights. Anyway, I hope it looks a little better than what it did back when I flew around Australia. I believe I started off in Adelaide and then worked our way up north to Ayers Rock and then up to the northwest coast of the continent. Alright. Yep, this is right. Yeah, this is it. This is where, in just a minute, as we get closer, and getting back on course, if you watch the vegetation as we get lower, as the terrain below us gets lower and lower in elevation, it really is impressive, because if Microsoft and the SOPO, if they did what they needed to do in order to properly, that's a better way to put it, properly show the vegetation, the farther we get towards destination, the terrain gets lower and lower in elevation, and you're going to begin, because right now those trees are not tropical, not a tropical elevation to say the least, because it can get very cold at 13,000 feet. Well, in this case it's at about 12,000. There we go, some sunshine. So as we begin to fly over lower elevation, we will ourselves descend and get down to about 10,000 feet, which is roughly the sweet spot for this aircraft. And then we'll be good to go. When I say good to go, I mean good to proceed as filed. Let's check out the outside. Pretty beautiful. It really is. This, of course, is only part 2 in our South American tour. The first part, you'd have to go and look at the most recent video before this one, where we flew the Citation 10 from Bogota, Colombia to Quito. And as I said, in this case, we're flying from Quito down to Salinas, which is on the ocean, the Pacific Ocean. Alright, did we lose a little too much altitude here? Terrain isn't looking, let's see here, hang right, yes. As I was saying, hopping in the Citation 10, again, for the next video, we'll be flying from Salinas, Ecuador, which is just outside of Guayaquil, on down to Pisco, Peru. Yeah, we aren't going to be using any navigational aids. And when I say nav aids, I mean flying from one specific navigation fix to another. We will be flying the Citation 10 right down the coast, and that's going to be our map. There you go, look at that. The vegetation is beginning to change already. Look at that green. Yep, very good. Looks like we might get into some rain. Here's an idea. This would make a perfect spot to fly a glider. I mean, this would the thermals are just unbelievable. I mean, you could really get it. You could really move and do some amazing things in a glider. You have to keep that in mind. Anyway, the plan is, after going down to Pisco, Peru, which is south of Lima, the reason not going into Lima is just a big airport. Is it on the water? It is. It's on the Pacific coastline. But Pisco, Peru is simply a lot more cool to go to, and temperature-wise, it's a lot cooler than Lima. Lima can get very hot. I've been there many times. Going down to Pisco, when I was there on business, helping a small airline get into bigger airplanes. The chief pilot and the DO, director of operations, they told me, because they wanted me to check out the well, this is getting to be more rain, and then I can get this thick. They wanted me to check out their chief, not their chief, I meant to say their primary maintenance base for a jet they were going to be buying, and they wanted to maintain it down in Pisco instead of Lima because there's simply no room for them to expand in Lima. They told me in Pisco that the weather is the same every day of the year. It's in like the upper 30s in Fahrenheit. Upper 30s to low 40s every morning, and how was that? I believe they said low 70s for a high around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it does it every day of the year. No changes whatsoever. I said, really? They said, yeah. It's a very, very well-known thing. Discovery Channel and National Geographic, they've been down there doing all kinds of documentaries about the unique weather in Pisco. So I said, I didn't know that. And the entire time I was there, I was just very impressed by how tranquil the weather was, as well as the whoa, big spike on the VSI. All right, but hang on just a sec. this rain was not anticipated. Let's see how much longer is it gonna be here? Okay, let's at least get up to 10,000 feet. And once we reach 10,000, I think I'll feel comfortable in turning on George. George, by the way, is the name of the autopilot. Every autopilot has a name, and this one's name it's calling George. Now, for those of you that fly any Embraer aircraft, especially Embraer 145s, Embraer the 170 family, 190s, the autopilot is affectionately known as Miss Brasilia. The little takeoff config button that you hit before you take the runway. They'll say we need to ask Miss Brasilia if we are properly configured for takeoff. Look at that. At least we know we've got no more mountains to run into. But we were flying pretty good at 10,000 feet with regard to our airspeed. So let's get up there. Maybe we can break out of the rain altogether. Very, very common to see this kind of weather. When you're changing from a very, very cool elevation and you're going down whereby the temperature is so different in such a very, very small, within a very, very small distance. If you think about it, if you were to draw a straight line between Quito and the coast of Ecuador as to where we are going in this case, it's not even 250 nautical miles. It's 230. So we're practically halfway there as we speak. Expand the range on the 530. Yeah, we're 150 out. So by this time, let's see if we can just pitch it at about 10,000 feet. Good, settle down. Alright, the message that's been blinking at us on the GNS 530 is probably going to tell us what we need to set our course needle at. A little bit of the left bank, need to remain right. Let's turn on the heading hole just for now as we check out the Garmin heading on this one, and then just on and heading HT altitude hold. It's acting like it doesn't want to capture the altitude that we were at. Alright, what being this at 236? No problem. 236 it is. There we go. 230, 235, 236. And we're going to say direct to Salinas. Activate that. And execute. So it's back to the car, back to the GPS. Activate that. And activate nav. And we should be heading there. Good. That's always good to know. Oh, quick reminder. As you can see me where I'm moving the mouse, yes, the heading bug, when A2A released the update of the Aerostar, they changed something. And it took me a while to figure out what they changed. Another reason why I didn't post a video yesterday. It took me forever to find it. I had to end up using an AI chatbot just to figure it out. Because I looked all over A2A's forum and I couldn't find anything about it. And that is, how do you set the heading on your HSI, line it up with your with the whiskey compass? It's different. You take your mouse and you go over the heading bug dial and you hold with the left mouse button, and then you click with the right mouse button. That makes the heading bug knob go in, and then as you spin that left and right, then you can set the HSI so that it matches up with the whiskey compass. That took me a long while to figure out. The other thing that I've noticed, I was playing around with it to see what else they fixed and or changed. The hydraulic pressure gauge, every once in a while, instead of always remaining at 1,000, every once in a while that gauge jumps all over the place, even if you're on the ground, not flying. There it goes. Down to 800. So the hydraulic pressure, it changes a little bit here and there. See, now it's back to 1,000. It just does that, which I find that pretty cool. In fact, let's do a little bit of an experiment. If I turn on the auxiliary hydraulic pump, I wonder if that will change anything. No, it won't. Alright. How's the temperature in the cabin? 57 degrees. It's a little chilly. Let's do cabin heat. Let's see if that begins to do anything for us here. I'll turn the fan on low. Let's see what happens. Alright, the temperature outside is 50 Fahrenheit, and on the Celsius scale, right at 10. Alright. Alright. As we go into this cloud, we'll take a little bit of a breather, hop outside, see how the aircraft reacts to the clouds now that the new sim update is out. Now this particular tail number, November 35463, it's one of the paints, one of the liveries and or paint jobs that you can get from A2A, and this one, another reason I didn't fly yesterday. I should say another reason I didn't do a video yesterday was because the engine performance. The left engine and the right engine they would not sync with each other at all. That the manifold pressure, they were 2 inches or more apart from each other, which indicates a mechanical issue, and it was the left engine that was having a problem. Left engine would not start, and the right engine would work. It was running beautifully, but the left engine just was giving me all kinds of headaches. So, and now it's the inverse. It's the right engine is underperforming the left by about 1 inch of manifold pressure, and that right engine, the RPM, as you can see, is bouncing around it a little bit. But just looking at the airspeed, indicated airspeed 150 knots, which is pretty impressive at just over 10,000 feet. And if you go back into this video, go back and notice the actual takeoff out of Quito as we were flying the VOR valet departure. Cylinder heads 5 and 6 on both engines were in the red, and I didn't touch the power management whatsoever. The reason that happened, high altitude equals low air density, and the amount of air going into the engine just isn't there because the molecules are much farther apart. So you gotta get up to speed, meaning your actual indicated airspeed. You gotta get enough air into those engines at these higher altitudes, and then the engines can cool themselves, because these engines are normally aspirated piston engines. That being said, let's look at the engine analyzer real quick, just for the heck of it, to see what's going on. Electric. Okay, engine number 1. AKA the left. And let's look at that. Let's look at the right engine. Anything different? Let me look at it real quick. Left engine. Torque RPM 1725. Roughly the same. As I said, roughly the same. And yeah, you can see that I had the left engine overhauled. Reason, for whatever reason, the left engine, like I said yesterday, I just could not get it to start. Tried everything, and then it said that the starter was bad. All of a sudden, the well, just this, well, only the starter. Everything else, according to the engine maintenance, right here, it said everything was working great. I clicked on the inspection, the inspect button right there. Everything is great. Just replace the starter. I did that, and nothing would work. It wouldn't even. I couldn't even get the prop to turn one revolution. Just wouldn't do anything at all. So I said, well, I guess I'll just have it overhauled and see if that'll make it work. If it doesn't, I'll get a different tail number and grab that one and use it for the video. Well, overhauling a brand new engine with just 3 hours on it was that fixed it. So don't know what to tell you on that. I don't know if they still haven't figured out the appropriate software balance between the new sim update and the new the latest version of the Aerostar. Don't know, but again, left engine would not start. Before that, the electrical system wasn't working worth anything. I couldn't get that battery, even though the battery was full, I should say fully charged. Nothing would work. Turn the battery on, nothing. Turn on the battery and just see if it just the navigation lights, nothing. The battery would not give the aircraft any electricity, even though the maintenance page showed that the battery was at 95% approximately. So a lot of quirks, and if I had to guess, some things that they definitely need to fix. So when I say they, I mean A2A simulations. And man, it would be so nice if they had, like back in the good old days of FSX and Prepared, they had an app you can download, and it would search your computer for every A2A aircraft, and once it found one, it would check their database and say, okay, is this thing does this aircraft have an update, yes or no? Again, just a simple email would be really nice. Just saying, it would be very nice. Because again, pulling my hair out for about 1 hour, troubleshooting it on my own, not finding any help in the forums. But yeah, eventually, I think I was using Google's Gemini AI, and it said that it had, don't use Microsoft Copilot, by the way, it just doesn't know anything. Google Gemini, it said, yep, they released an update on the Aerostar about, I think it's 3 or 4 days after Sim Update 5 was released. Something to that effect. But at any rate, let's begin to set up the arrival. Because we're not even 100 nautical miles away. Let's increase the range on the 430. Is there any weather down there? Nope. 237. We already did that. Alright, let's do, because the wind in Salinas is out of the north, well, okay, west, northwest as well. The temperature in the cockpit, 56. Well, we could always go like this. No, that preset doesn't work right. Sorry about that. So the one we went next to yet. Okay. Let me look at one little. Let's just scoot over to the FOC. Temperature defrost. Let's leave that alone. We will simply leave that alone. Let's get the arrival set up. I believe it's the runway. I think it's a runway 31. Let's just look at that real quick. Runway. Let's see the weather. What's the weather doing? Winds 240 at 7. Alright. We'll do, I didn't know that runway 26 was even simulated here. That's a little bizarre. Runway 26, really? I thought I only had only one runway was 3108. Huh. Yeah, look, because we're gonna use. I was planning on doing the ILS. And you can see where it shows us in the very top right hand corner. Because this is the one you want. So let's go ahead and load that into the GNS 530. Let's do that right now. And for those of you that don't know how to do it, here's how you do it. Alright, we'll zoom in for those of you watching on a mobile device. Go to PROC, little button below. Look, if you're looking at the big knob on the right, bottom right, labeled GPS. That isn't what the knob is labeled, but it says GPS on it. Okay, just left of the big right knob is a button that says PROC. That is procedure. And we want to select approach. And you control that by the big knob. See that? Go left and right with your mouse. Now, select approach. So we're going to hit the enter button just above that knob. And we get a list of approaches. And we want the ILS uniform 31. That's what you want. And then you hit enter. Let's see. Romeo 131. No, just it's no. but we don't need that. We'll just do vectors, it's fine with me. And we'll just load it or activate. We're not close enough, so we're gonna load, just not activate. And I'm all ready for the inevitable, and that is the current flight plan that we're flying right now disappearing. I am fully more than ready for it. That's why you always want your heading bug over here. You always want the heading bug set up so that it is on your current heading. Anything happens, you can very quickly hit the heading button on George's panel. The panel right there. Hit the heading button, and then you can catch it before it really begins to bank left or right. We're simply gonna load that. GPS guidance is for monitoring only. Load the approach. Yes. Only loading it, not activating it. And look at that. It did what I did not want it to do. I did not want it to do that. And it did. But that's why you keep the heading bug right where you want it. I just said I only want you to activate, not load it. I'm sorry, just load it, not activate it. But it did, didn't it? How nice. Alright. Let's do... I say... Sorry about that. My apologies on that. Somebody sent me a text and I had to respond. Mother's Day type stuff. Alright. We'd like to go direct to ISA08. Is going to allow us to do that. Let me go back one. Let's go. ISA08. Yep. Activate that. Let's see if we get what we need. Turn on nav. It's simply redrawing the course to ISA08. I do believe. Yep. OBS, I know. If you touch it, it just goes haywire, doesn't it? It'll just go nuts. CDI, which I... What is the heading on this? 311. Okay. There. Very good. Let's see, what is it really doing? If I hit, it should be linked to the GPS. Yeah, I just, oh dear, that was not good. Sorry. It just completely had a meltdown. Look at that, pathetic. Sorry, my apologies. Not very intuitive, is it? If you don't, if you don't fly this airplane, I'm sorry, if you don't utilize these old-fashioned Garmin's, the whole thing can get away from you very, very quickly. Back to flight plan. ISA 08. So we want, yes. Activate. Just that in there, back to nav. Alright, this is why I like the more up to date. I know I said I do like more vintage things for now, every now and again. I take that back. I don't. Why is it not wanting to? It just doesn't want to grab it. I don't understand. It just doesn't want. Let's see if I move the course just a little bit. We must be getting one heck of a crosswind up here. Let me look and see if that's the case. Huh. Only just 6 knots. I don't know why it's acting like it has to do this massive correction and keep us in such a bank angle. Don't know why. Well, getting back into this idea and looking at actual easy, straightforward navigating will be a wonderful thing. Alright, let's go ahead and begin the descent. Only 20 miles out. Alright, let's zoom, and have to zoom way out. Because honestly, I do not remember if you take the pitch wheel down as that goes down. Yeah. Okay, very good. Let's bring those engines back. Let's see where it settles out at. 1,008, 1,900 a minute. Bring it back even more, but let's get these engines back. Once we get down to like 5,000, we're gonna give it more. We're gonna push the mixture up just a little more, and a little more in increments as we get lower and lower in altitude. Hopefully, the aircraft will turn right when it's supposed to. Okay, we gotta slow down more than that. Not that much. My goodness, this is touchy. Not that much either. Okay. There's the airport. I might have to do a manual holding pattern. I did not expect it to do that. We're going left. What part of the flight plan shows a left turn? We're supposed to turn right. That's the one thing I don't like about this setup. You have to constantly change the course needle. I thought the course needle in this aircraft was set up differently. 2981. 298. There we go. Put the mixture all the way up. Meaning rich. And the autopilot. Alright, we're just going to take over the autopilot. I don't understand why it does what it does. I just really don't. I don't get it. I mean, it wasn't, it did not do what it was supposed to do. Very, very simple. Alright, let's get this view so we can see just a little better. That's what we're going to have to do. And get those prop levers up. Oh, I liked it where they were. Very different terrain than Quito. Not even close. More of a desert now, isn't it? Alright. That's what I thought. Let's see if we can bleed off some of the airspeed here. Whoa! That just slows up a good deal. There we go. Yes, I am fully aware that the course needle is not lined up the runway, but this is a visual approach now. This is no longer the no, and don't worry, that is not the runway. The runway is actually beyond that. it looks at a glance, it looks like a runway, but it's not. A boatload of trim is required. I mean, a ton of trim is required. Okay, landing configuration. Flaps set. Landing gear down. 3 grain. Good to go. Heat is what you don't want. Don't need the blower, don't need the fan either. Alright. Here we go. It's a little gusty. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. You do not want to come in and then idle the engines before you touch down in the Aerostar. The Aerostar simply does not work that way because of the wings. Very, very small wings, and it is a mid-wing fuselage. But just keep in mind, wings small equals do not idle until on runway. Unless you're going in really hot fast, you just don't want to do it. So grab angle here just a little bit. Keep that airspeed in the green. And then slowly bring it back once you're over the touchdown zone. You'll see what I mean in just a second. Yeah, grab. There we go. I don't know why the rudder doesn't want to. I wanted to make that turn off right there. Yeah, this airplane is not forgiving when you're doing a crosswind landing and coming out of the grab. It just, I'll say that again. The aircraft is just not that forgiving. Listen to this, everybody at A2A. It is not forgiving for whatever reason. Not forgiving at all with regard to coming out of a grab angle. It just isn't. Yeah, I say that with some authority. My stepdad and a good friend of his who is still in the airline business, a captain at JetBlue. They both flew the Aerostar, and yeah, the way this aircraft and Microsoft Flight Sim, the way it comes out when you gently kick it out of the grab, it just goes haywire. Just the nose wants to go hard left, hard right, and I'd love to know why it does that. I would really, really love to know why it does that. So if anybody at A2A is watching, I'd love to have an answer to that question. Anyway, that being said, welcome to Salinas, Ecuador. Hope you enjoyed the departure out of Quito. It was a beautiful thing. Beautiful scenery, I should say. But the departure and all that, just a beautiful, beautiful thing. And not too many places on the globe like it. But outside the crab issue, this aircraft is the best GA aircraft on the market for flight sim. It's solid and everything else that goes along with it being fantastic. We'll park just to the left of that Cirrus jet. You gotta speak with such enunciation is so perfect because because of the closed captioning system on YouTube. Alright, we gotta bring those flaps up. And another thing I just noticed, we were taxiing that fast with the engines at idle. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, parking brake set. Lights. Let's go right to left. Cabin and strobes are not required yet. I should say anymore. Right alternator. Yeah, there's something is up with the engines. I just don't want to sync. I'm not talking about the alternator. It just made me think about the engines don't want to sync up. See that? They just... Yeah, it's better now. Okay. Alright. We'll just do one mixture at a time. I'll turn the cabin fan off as well, because we don't want to burn out the battery, so we'll just go ahead and kill the avionics. We don't need them anymore. Alright. Do right engine first. And Mr. Left engine. Alright. Idle. Lean. Leave the condition levers all the way forward. Fuel boost pumps off. Turn off the mags and the fuel flow. Alright. Beacon light off. Nav light off. Alternators both off. Oops. Accidentally plugged in the headset. Everybody else, check. Transponder off. Everybody else off. Do flow left to right and then back over right to left. Fan is off. Blower is off. Auxiliary hydraulic is off. Vents are all the way in and closed. All lights are off. Master battery is off. Alright. Well, there we go. Welcome to Salinas, Ecuador. Not to be confused, Salinas, Mexico. In the Aerostar. And there we are. Well, and there's the view. There's the FBO. Nice looking FBO. Here we are. Welcome. Again, sorry for the delay in the video. The next one will come out. Hopefully, it will come out much sooner, so we can do a really cool tour of the remainder of South America, a continent, in my opinion, that doesn't get enough attention in the sim universe, if you will. Again, if you like the video, smash that thumbs up button for us. We'd appreciate it. And subscribe to the channel. And that helps us out. And you can check us out on Patreon if you would like as well. Thank you again for watching. Hope you got something out of it. Hope you found it entertaining. So between now and next time, take care. And until then, frequency change approved. See ya. Fly safe.